49ers and the Chargers. Joint practice here at the Bolt.
In the books. And we have a lot of highlights from today. Yes, with Jim Harbaugh, with Kyle Shanahan, with Trey Lance, with Brock Purdy, all on the same field. Absolute cinema is right.
Yeah, I want to meet Brock Purdy. I want to shake his hand. Hopefully Kyle will introduce me to him.
Is there anything in particular about Brock Purdy's game that you've appreciated from afar?
Yeah, just how good he is. His timing, his decision making, his accuracy. Just how it's like how cool he is. How cool he plays.
Now Purdy did see quite a bit of success early, and there was a sweet Dejon Stribling touchdown catch for the 49ers. And then San Francisco's offense cooled off over the course of the session. The opposite was true on the other side of the ball, where the Chargers were cooking the 49ers early. San Francisco obviously missing Nick Bosa. They were not setting a good edge against the run. Keaton Mitchell had a couple big runs for LA early on, and that set up play action for Justin Herbert and company, and the 49ers were getting roasted downfield. That being said, you cannot sack at these practices. You can't touch the quarterback. And I think if you had been able to touch the quarterback, Osa Odighizuwa might have had 5 or 6 sacks. Some of the deep passes that we saw fans take videos of from the stands, like this one to Brennan Thompson from Justin Herbert, would have been an Osa Odighizuwa sack. So just keep that in mind. All right, some highlights led off by really good 49ers news. Kaelon Black, the rookie running back, the ball of muscle from Indiana, back at practice. Missed a couple weeks with the adductor injury. I noticed his burst immediately. Maybe I've just been watching backup running backs for too long, but Kaelon Black moves at a different gear, and it's especially impressive considering how much muscle he's carrying. There's Mr. Lance himself, the former 49ers number 3 overall pick. Now with Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers, Justin Herbert working with that medicine ball behind him. 49ers almost picked off Trey Lance. Jack Jones almost got him, but was unable to catch it. Special teams guys always seem to have a lot of fun. They can just chill. But today they did have a long special teams period during practice. 49ers offensive line getting after it. 74 is Carver Willis, 75 Connor Colby. 2 young guys competing with Robert Jones at that 49ers left guard spot. Trenton Irwin ran into his dad outside of the facility today. Irwin, 82, had a big catch for the 49ers during the move the ball period from Mack Jones. Christian McCaffrey, his former teammate at Stanford, has helped welcome Trenton, the wide receiver, with open arms. You can see him right here in front of Kaelon Black at the right. Christian McCaffrey has helped welcome him to his new team. Trent played several seasons with Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. That's Kaelon Black. Just wanted to give you guys a couple more looks at the 49ers running back who's back in action. Speaking of CMC, Kyle Shanahan said that if there were a game tomorrow that actually counted, Christian McCaffrey would play. So the hold-in stuff, that just is unsubstantiated rumor garbage, and Christian McCaffrey is not all that hurt. Neither is Keion White, who was back in uniform today, did not participate in team drills, but good news for the 49ers to get their defensive end back. Joint practices typically rather chaotic scenes. Here you can see the Bolt, the Chargers facility. Chargers in the powder blue uniforms ahead of the 49ers defensive line working behind them. And there's a look at Keion White. I say the 49ers need edge rushers. They need guys setting the edge. Keion's going to be back soon. Acquired him at the trade deadline last year, and Nick Bosa apparently doing well also. Mike Shanahan at left was at practice today for the 49ers, and they let people film everything today, so you actually have 11 on 11 clips. That's Purdy to Deebo Samuel, who also played running back, a pitch back. There's a look at Christian McCaffrey out with the tightness, and there's Christian Kirk talking to Trent Williams on the sideline as the 49ers continue to run some plays against the Chargers. John Lynch loves watching from his center field vantage point. This was the portion of practice where the 49ers offense was struggling a little bit, but Brock Purdy was trying to buy some time. I thought this was a typical Purdy play, just a few seconds left. Tried to squeeze one in there to Jordan Watkins, who unfortunately was unable to make the catch in traffic. But Purdy did a good job escaping the rush, trying to buy some time, create something. 49ers just couldn't buy that score today at the end of practice. Purdy here overshot DeMarcus Robinson in the end zone. Mike Evans did not finish practice. He had a wrap around his left quad. First a wrap around his ankle as well, then he took it off. Didn't look overly serious, and Kyle Shanahan said that it was precautionary. Incompletion, Deebo Samuel. I feel bad. I wasn't on the 49ers offensive side of the field filming when they were making some bigger plays early on. Here, Dejon Stribling was unable to make the catch. So the Chargers defense did get the better of the 49ers there toward the end. Here you see Evans with that wrap around his quad, a little bit of a limp, and Christian McCaffrey. But again, 49ers not worried about Mike Evans. Jason Verrett played for both the Chargers and the 49ers. Was in attendance today. Good to see him. And here's Christian McCaffrey chopping it up with Justin Herbert. A little family reunion on the field for the McCaffreys. Ed and Lisa both on the practice field here on a sunny day in LA. Should be the San Diego Chargers. Unfortunately, we don't get to have nice things. So we're in El Segundo, just south of LAX. Anyway, let's go through everything that happened at practice today, starting with this thought from Brock Purdy on the performance of the 49ers offense.
Honestly, I don't think it was our best day. I feel like fundamentals and stuff were just a little off and whatnot. Obviously there was some good stuff, some stuff we need to work on, but I just feel like we could have came out with a little bit more chip on our shoulder. Offensively, I don't know how our defense did, but that's just overall thoughts.
Purdy and the starters, or most of them, should have a chance to get a better taste in their mouth on Thursday night, because the starters will play for a short portion of the game. Jim Harbaugh told us that the Chargers starters will play one series, and Kyle Shanahan in the past has liked to give his starters 10 to 12 plays in the second preseason game. That could be one or two series. So at the very start of it, we should see some big names, and then it will move on to the backups. And that's going to give us a chance to continue to evaluate a really interesting 49ers linebacker core. Listen to Fred Warner and his evaluation from the first preseason game of his position.
Everybody had good things and things to work on throughout that game. We had two backers get sacks in that game, which is, you don't see that. You haven't seen that a lot from our group in the past. But to see young Larry get in there, get a sack, and then Tatum bulldoze a running back to get a sack. Doug did a lot of good things in that game as well. Wallow has been phenomenal all camp. He had a really good track tackle out in space. Nick Martin blowing people up, unreal. So there was a lot of guys that did a lot of good things. I'm sure I'm missing somebody, but I liked what I saw from the group.
All right, let's go through everything that happened at this practice. They got their money's worth, and you might as well if you're already going to conduct a joint practice full with travel. One just relatively random play that stood out to me. It happened later on in the red zone. Kaelon Black, been talking about the rookie running back at practice today. Caught an angle route from Adrian Martinez in the red zone for the 49ers' only touchdown of that red zone period. And it reminded me that a lot of people were worried that Kaelon Black is not a good receiving back. He did a lot of it at a previous stop in James Madison. He just wasn't asked to do a lot of it at Indiana. But he has shown good hands for the 49ers, and he was back out there today. Nice catch from Kaelon Black for the San Francisco touchdown. Flipping it around to the other side of the ball, I spoke a little bit earlier about Osa Odighizuwa. The stat from last year is that Osa had 51 pressures all on his own. The 49ers defensive tackles combined for 56. Right now, they don't have much of an edge presence, and they hope to get Bosa back. Shanahan said that his knee tendonitis symptoms are improving, which is big for the 49ers, but this defense is going to go as Nick Bosa goes. He's more important to the defense than even Fred Warner, just because of the position that he plays. He sets the edge, which stops the run, which then sets the defense up to rush the passer, which he does at one of the best levels in the entire league. And if you're not setting the edge, you're not stopping the run, you're not in pass rushing situations, you are vulnerable to the play action. We saw that today. Good thing for the 49ers is that they have Osa bringing that heat up the middle. Bad thing right now is that Bosa is not there, but Bosa's knee tendonitis symptoms are improving, and the 49ers hope to get him back by week 1. and then this defensive line is going to be able to start to flex. Do they add another defensive end, like a bigger name at some point? Maybe. Do they add a Vita Vea? Probably not, but maybe. It's somebody that they're definitely interested in adding. And again, that's addition by domino effect, right? If Vita Vea ended up coming to the 49ers, it would help the edge rushers because of the defensive, or the attention that he would be commanding at defensive tackle from opposing offensive linemen. You set up different one-on-ones and you basically turn the numbers game into your favor, and you count on a guy who's 350 pounds, who's one of the best run defenders in the league, to set you up with more pass rushing opportunities. So it is absolutely all connected, and some of the 49ers defensive issues that we saw today earlier, it was run defense connected with the harder platform to pass rush from. So you have to improve everything. A rising tide lifts all boats. Dejon Stribling, when he caught that Mac Jones fade in the red zone, one of the 49ers offensive linemen yelled out, "Hell yeah, Stribbles!" So I guess Stribbles might be the nickname for Dejon Stribling. That was from Mac Jones, who threw an interception today to Eric Rodgers, who's a 6'2" cornerback for the Chargers. Big physical guy. I thought that he outmuscled Jordan Watkins for the football. That's something that Jordan Watkins, he did well in the preseason game against the Titans, made some tough catches over the middle. Today, you saw the Purdy ball on kind of the prayer throw that Watkins wasn't able to come up with, and then he was unable to come up with the Mac Jones inaccurate ball. I mean, it wasn't on the money to Jordan Watkins, but I thought that Rodgers did outmuscle Watkins, and again, those are plays that the 49ers are going to need to at least get a pass breakup from their second-year wide receiver. That being said, Jones has not been overly accurate this camp. I don't think that he was overly accurate last camp, though. And I think that he proved to be an absolute gamer over the course of the season. Just a few miles from here is SoFi Stadium. That's where Mac Jones led the 49ers to victory over the Rams, a skeleton crew victory over the Rams on that Thursday night. So I don't think the 49ers are worried about Mac Jones at all. Why don't we flip the camera? Why don't we have some fun taking a look at the Chargers facility? It's a really nice facility. They call it the Bolt, established 2024 here in El Segundo, but this is what it looks like with your desert-like foliage out in front. I guess it's almost a desert here in Southern California. They get a little bit more rain than a desert, don't they? But it is warm, it is sunny, and it is dry here. You know, we got treated to a walking Hall of Famer matchup today. Just a few reps of it, but Trent Williams against Khalil Mack. So fun when you get guys who are that good going up against each other. And then there was Andre Carter II, no relation to the former 49er Andre Carter. Andre Carter II, a defensive end out of Army, West Point, who worked out for the 49ers a couple weeks ago. He had a great move that just ripped right by Enrique Cruz Jr., the 49ers rookie tackle out of the University of Kansas. Raw tackle. Has improved a bit over his early camp performance when he was just whiffing against Romello Height, struggled to block anybody. We saw a couple days ago Cruz had maybe his best practice for the 49ers in terms of one-on-ones, but today he lost to Andre Carter. Trent Williams was helping coach Enrique Cruz up a little bit later. It's going to be interesting. I think the 49ers realize Cruz is a developmental player who is very raw at this point, but was the fastest offensive lineman in this draft class. Does that make him somebody who would get scooped up off of waivers if you cut him? Or do you have to protect him on that 53-man roster? It's going to be one of the big questions the 49ers face over the next couple weeks. You know who looked really good today and has looked, I think stock is rising on a day-by-day basis? James Thompson Jr., the defensive tackle, 6'6", tall defensive tackle out of Illinois. He ripped right by Jake Slaughter, who's the Chargers left guard, for a big pressure. So we talk all about Osa Odighizuwa getting pressure. He's lived in opposing backfields this training camp. James Thompson Jr., I think, has got some real pass rushing tools to him. And then Bryson Eason, who's the other undrafted free agent defensive tackle, much stouter, lower to the ground. It seemed to me that he was getting decent push for the 49ers. The bigger issue for San Francisco now, defensively, is the lack of edge setting and edge rush, which they obviously hope to solve when Bosa and guys like Keion White and Mykel Williams is back. Keion back today, partly. Bosa, good progress. Mykel Williams, Kyle Shanahan said, a long shot for week one. obviously because he tore his ACL 6 weeks after Nick Bosa, but he is making good progress. Kind of a trial by fire day today for Ephesians Pricesock, the 49ers' young cornerback. He was victimized a couple times by Brennan Thompson on balls downfield. Long corner, has made some plays. We saw one in the preseason opener against the Titans, but for Pricesock, it is going to be a growing experience, and I'm sure that Thursday night is going to be a big deal for him playing in SoFi Stadium against the Chargers. Maybe some reps against Trey Lance. It's funny, they didn't play any music at practice today. Everything was different. They let you film everything at practice, and then they're playing music or no music at practice, so it's a lot quieter. So I heard Mike Evans lobbying the officials for a pass interference penalty in a really friendly way. I mean, he's not losing his cool at a training camp practice. He's been doing this for way too long for that to happen, but just a politician out there. He's a savvy vet, if you will. I mentioned that Mike Shanahan was here. Fred Warner had this punch out against David Njoku. And Njoku had a big gainer. It was part of the 49ers defensive struggles early on. The play action for the Chargers is wide open. They scored a touchdown. He was fired up. But later when the 49ers defense found its bearings, Fred Warner punched it out from David Njoku. And the practice for that side of the ball ended up better than it had started, which is all good. For the offensive side, though, it was the reverse for the 49ers. The practice ended up worse than it started. All in all, it's a practice. And the 49ers got in good work against the Titans and against the Chargers. You might notice that we're 20 minutes into this thing. I haven't talked about a fight because there were no fights. There were like 7 or 8 against the Titans last week up in Santa Clara. No fights between the 49ers and the Chargers. So, just how it works. I think it unraveled a bit last week after the 49ers might have been a little aggressive early on. You're not supposed to bring guys down to the ground defensively, and then it just snowballed, and fights are contagious. Nothing happened today. Good work between the 49ers and the Chargers. And did Jim Harbaugh ever get to meet Brock Purdy? We didn't get a clear answer. We saw McCaffrey and Justin Herbert, their significant others, chopping it up after, but I'm not sure if Jim Harbaugh got to meet Brock Purdy.
Jim Harbaugh told us that he really wanted to meet you. Did he end up meeting you?
I haven't met him yet. I might meet him after this, but yeah.
Yeah, I want to meet Brock Purdy. I want to shake his hand. Hopefully Kyle will introduce me to him.
Is there anything in particular about Brock Purdy's game that you've appreciated from afar?
Yeah, just how good he is. His timing, his decision making, his accuracy. Just how it's like how cool he is. How cool he plays, and all that. Same kind of the same way I think of Kyle. It's cool. I love the stuff he puts on tape. I love his demeanor. Love the toughness of his teams. Love that they're really good at football, and great to be around it. Proof's in the pudding. It's just right there. It's just been just always really. They're always just really good, and if something isn't, then it gets fixed ASAP. Could be the next week, could be 2 weeks, but it's not much further past that, and it's never been consecutive years, so I think it's a really good way to judge coaches.